brewing, Jen. It's brewing. Like Paul McCartney at this point. You, Paul.
Hey, I know you. The Hard Rock Casino is jumping on the bandwagon, trying to get Sir Paul McCartney to Music Hall.
You remember when he was one of the Beatles?
That was him?
That was so cool.
That's so cool. Just kidding.
The casino is celebrating the music legend today with a happy hour from 5 to 7. It includes Beatles-themed food and drink. Guests will also have the chance to see Paul McCartney memorabilia from Hard Rock's collection. Cincinnatians want the musician in town, need the musician in town for the Cincinnati Opera's world premiere of Liverpool Oratorio. It debuts a week from Thursday. If there has been any hint or indication that he is actually coming to town, I have not seen it,
no, I don't
heard
think
it,
so.
Whatever. But, we were sort of discussing actually yesterday when you were out, it might be the kind of thing where if he was going to show up, he just sort of sneaks into town, because he's not performing or anything. Like, he just kind of sort of sneaks in to see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
that would be pretty cool.
It would be super cool.
Yeah.
I feel like he's pointing at me.
He is.
He's like, hey.
Was it Chris Farley that asked him?
Yes. Remember when you were the Beatles?
Remember when you were the Beatles? That was so cool.
That was cool. That was cool.
That would be really cool if he did just come. Who knows what his schedule's like?
Sure.
Fairly
fairly busy
go
guy.
Across the pond.
Like you do.
But it would be neat if he did just show up.
I'm just sort of amazed by
so neat.
both the schedule he keeps,
right,
and at least last time I saw him in concert, and I think it's still the case now. He plays, and he plays for a while.
Yeah.
He gets after it too, which
He's
is
amazing.
Pretty neat.
Love
a legend.
A total legend. Well, a Cincinnati holiday tradition, speaking of legend, finds a new home in the Greater Cincinnati Holiday Theme Market. It's going to hold its show this year at the Sharonville Convention Center. Marketplace Events started looking for an alternate location after last year's announcement that the Duke Energy Convention Center would be closing. The holiday market will be held at the Sharonville Convention Center both this year and next. The event is November 8th through 10th this year, and I know it's early to be talking about this, but they just announced this week.
Well, it's a big deal. Like that was one of the ones that's year after year after year after year is down at the convention center downtown. So they needed a spot, and a lot of people were wondering where they would end up.
And not only a big deal for the people that like to go. A lot of people make it a family event or a girls event or guys where you go down and they have VIP nights where you have some cocktails and shop. But for the vendors, I know they do a lot of their business.
Yeah.
So Sharonville Convention Center is great.
And they just finished an expansion there within the last year or two, didn't they?
I think so.
So it'll be interesting to see what the vendors think of that space. Now, obviously, what they're going to do downtown is supposed to be fantastic and everything else, but everything that went there is going to go elsewhere for a couple years. So it'll be interesting to see as they try to pull people back into the fold who have gone out to these other spaces.
Good opportunity for these other spaces, though.
This is what I'm saying.
Some visibility.
That's what I'm saying. The butter has arrived at the Ohio State Fairgrounds. The annual tradition of sculpting the cow, the calf, and other surprise creations kicked off yesterday. The process takes upward of 500 hours, more than 2,000 pounds of butter. Here's a look at some of the past creations from years ago. The theme of the display is kept a secret until right before the fairgrounds open. The Ohio State Fair is July 24th to August 4th at the Ohio Expo Center up in Columbus. New this year is a thrill show with an 8th-generation stunt performer family, plus strolling entertainers and an art mural contest.
Did you see the butter leg lamp?
Oh, it's fragile.
Cool.
Gotta be careful.
It really is fragile.
What would you have done in your youth? There's no way for you to know this. If your family had been a family of daredevils.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, do you almost have to go into the family business? Like by age 3, are they just throwing you through rings of fire and stuff? You know what I mean? Because that's how the circus folk often are.
Right.
The carnies.
Well, you see what you.
Well, because
you do what you see, and so
there are certain skills, like you got to start early.
Early, yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't just start. You can't pick that up when you're 30.
Right.
Well,
you could, but it would take a lot longer to the dexterity and the things and the learning and the brain and all the stuff.
Yes.
It's easier when you're younger.
The learning and the brain.
And your back. Oh, my back. Okay.
I don't know if this level of carving, by the way, is going to be as amazing as the level of carving you will be seeing live later in this show.
I'm nervous.
It's a different medium.
We've got some real sharp knives, too.
I'll tell you that much.
We need to be real careful about what we're carving.
Yeah, we're not to spread butter. But
something else.
Yeah, we'll get into it later.
Okay.
Hey, Cincinnati has so much to offer, but Jen, Jen, what are those hidden gems? Oh, not hidden gems. You can see her. She's not hidden.
Sometimes I hide.
Hidden gems in the tri-state. The Reddit user Weary Maps asked the Cincinnati subreddit, there are some underrated places in Cincinnati that I won't find on the Googles. They write, visiting Cincy in a few weeks for the first time, and I know all the good stuff is probably not on TripAdvisor. Interesting.
So the responses were great on the subreddit. Let's start with this user, which chose Cincinnati parks, adding the Cincinnati Visitor Walk Bicentennial Commons, there we go, along the river. Anything along the river.
Anything
Smale
along,
Park,
seriously.
it's beautiful.
And it's so funny because Lomax always used to talk about the fact that it used, back in the day, that was the place where people dumped old refrigerators.
Right.
Now it's this beautiful park from, all the way east to the boathouse, all the way.
Well, I mean, and you got the banks along the way. You got,
gorgeous.
the ballpark and the ballparks, I should say, both of them, the Paycor and then the Great American, but just so many great things in between too, and restaurants and
that whole span. You're never not in a park. Think about that.
Right, and if you've never been down along Smale with the swings and the different, it's just really
Black
cool.
Music Walk of Fame's right there. You can kind of zip up there. Go do that. Reddit user Zeus Deuce says, yes.
You love this, don't you?
The Lucky Cat Museum is a favorite low-key spot. My favorite.
Did you do a story there?
I did not, but you know who did? Who did a great story there? It was Jeff Hirsch.
Okay, I was going to say it was either Joe Webb or Jeff Hirsch.
Jeff Hirsch did a great story at the Lucky Cat Museum.
Okay, that's another good one.
Not a spot that a lot of people would necessarily think about.
Well, and of course, Cincinnati, a lot of great food recommendations came up. Reddit user Christoph says, Knockback Nats has some great smoked chicken wings.
Do you know that one?
I know the name, but I can't think of. Is that downtown, Chuck, or is that the? Yeah, it's downtown.
Downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. If you started on a restaurant thing for this guy coming to Cincinnati, you'd have a lot of responses, a lot of places to go.
Can I give a shout out when we're talking about restaurants?
I
went to a restaurant that's new to me in Lawrenceburg over the weekend. It's called Proof 127, I believe. 127. Okay. Yeah. And it's right near where they set up live music on Thursday nights near the river. It was fantastic. Shout out to
Lawrenceburg just in general.
Cool.
Lawrenceburg just in general, if you get down to everything sort of along the river right there, is really nice, really fun.
Build that river walk that they're working on, or
because it's already very nice.
It's gonna be very nice.
It'll be even elevated, it'll elevate it even, which is another thing when people come to Cincinnati. I don't think that everybody necessarily knows that you've got obviously the Kentucky side of the river, which whether it's Newport or Covington or Bellevue, whatever, great. And then you slide on down to Lawrenceburg.
Or anywhere in there, Aurora. All those different towns are very close.
It's amazing where we live, and we're not just sucking up, hoping you'll tell more people to watch. It's 10 minutes after 8, though if you want to do that, it's super great. Things are about to get spooky and slightly sticky here in the ARC Cincinnati studio.
And also possibly dangerous. Just ahead, we test out a trend that has Halloween arriving months early. You're going to want to stick around for this Summerween edition of Try It Tuesday. Summerween, everybody. Summerween makes me feel fine.
Sure, you could stop watching now, but let's be honest, you want to see more. So click some of those links, or better yet, go ahead and tap subscribe. That way you'll catch more content from Local 12.